Hey folks, Brian, just call it. Um, we played RQG tonight. In fact, we just got done a couple minutes ago, and we had to start late because I had to end up picking up my son from work to bring him home, and that cut into our game time. I normally start before he's finished working, so I had to delay the game. But let's see, 9, 10, 11, yeah, 2.5 hours about, which has kind of been, for the short sessions, pretty average. But the whole thing was pretty much that combat. We ended the last session with that blood chilling howl. Excuse me. And so combat ensues, right? And lots of fighting going on. The critters are humanoid, claw bites. Davin's player, after a bite came out, it got one of the players in the head and paralyzed him. Started calling them vampires. It's kind of cool. And the shaman was able to, well, turned on a second sight. And these things don't have power. They're not living things. What's going on? And in an experiment, manifested the fetch to attempt to engage in spirit combat. But if there's no power to latch onto, how does spirit combat occur? I could almost see, because they do have magic points, I could almost see doing that to use up the magic points, but it just didn't seem right to me. If they don't have power and you have visibility of power, you're not gonna be able to see them. How can you attack? So that's what I ran with anyway. But one of the players, the howling demoralized throughout the course of the combat 2 of the players. As I mentioned, one of the players got paralyzed, went down. The ghouls did get, arms taken here and there. And that's one of those things that I really have a problem with, is intelligent creatures having no defense. Even if somebody's swinging a sword at you, yeah, you know where the blade is, and you could quote parry with your arm, doing a slap kind of thing. So I only applied that though when they were making an attack and the attack got parried, and so the parrying weapon does damage to the attacking weapon thing, and there was something somewhere where it talks about the number of hit points that the limb has that they block that much. And so I've been applying that for the defense side of things, not or for the offending defense. If that makes any sense. The defending offense. So anyway, they eventually took the ghouls all down. There was one ghoul left, and he was intent on taking one of the other players with him. He was the one that paralyzed one of the other players, and he had bitten a second player, but didn't paralyze it. So he wanted to try and get that done, kind of thing. And everybody ganged up on him and killed him. Strength spells and mobility, getting strike ranks down really low and doing extra damage, that really can take people out fairly quickly, especially when they don't have any real defense, right? You could say that's balanced by the fact that they are attacking 3 times in a round. And although I had the leader ghoul howling, so the others, I didn't have him howl and bite at the same time. That just seemed, I suppose you could, but it's kind of howl over the whole turn kind of deal is how I dealt with it. If they're howling, they're not going to bite. So that's how I dealt with it. There was some more confusion early on with one of the players on inspiration and multiple defenses and around, because he was actually he got attacked at 9 times on that first round. Not the first round. Round 0. Okay, the first melee round, the first actual melee round. Because 3 of the ghouls were on him. Each had 2 claws and a bite. So, minus 20 each defense. And we didn't really discuss it here because we're already in the fight. But if you're going to alternate's not the right word, neither is rotate. But if you're going to apply different types of defense, for example, shield parry, sword parry, dodge, in my head I'm thinking the first one of each of those is straight. The second then of each of those would then be minus 20. So you could do 3 dodges at full in a melee round. And having done some fighting myself, I've done that. Parry dodge. So, but then that's against a series of blows. So what's it called? A flurry of blows kind of deal, right? So I don't know, maybe I have to think about this more. But that's the concept I've been playing with, and it only really came down to, okay, what's going on here? So he actually did. The sword did get damaged once. He's using mobility. The way he said mobility, though, dancing around is more of a defense than an offense mindset to me. Didn't want to argue with the point, and doesn't really have that much of a significance. No, it doesn't. But it needs to make sense to everybody, right? If you're going to use your mobility for an offense, I can almost buy off on that. But dancing around may sound like a defense thing, but then he was applying that. He wanted to apply that plus 20 to everything. No, one skill. You're doing it to your sword. Okay, so I'm going to start pairing with my sword then instead of pairing with my shield. Oh, okay, that makes sense. That's what we're doing. And one goal got, because it was special, against the regular parry, so it did a slash against this sword and ended up doing a point of damage. So it does that. Anyway, these ghouls had climbed up out of the river and climbed up the hill because they smelt the living blood. Not too bad, all in all. But they did healing on everybody, did some first aid. But the player that's paralyzed, still paralyzed. And they noticed the next morning that he doesn't seem to be doing so good. We need some help. And so they decided to go back to Runegate. So we just kind of narrated this piece. Getting back down to Runegate takes most of the day. It doesn't take all day, but it takes a significant amount of time. And that's where we called the game. My goodness. So I thought it was a pretty decent session. Everybody seemed to have a decent amount of fun. And some joking around, that kind of stuff always happens. But success. There were some side conversations going on that kind of got distracting. 2 of the players actually in the same location, which because of the using a single mic for both of them and a distance, it got kind of spotty on a few times. Hey, I need to get closer to the mic so we can hear you, kind of thing. But all in all, it did not go too badly. But I guess that's it. Happy gaming.